Justice mean inequity, so who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian council, silence. Islamic leaders, silence. Kings and queens, silence. Traditional leaders, silence. So who go say the truth? We are the workers of comfort call. Now by area, why no better? We are the workers of comfort call. One guy's out here, why no better? Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, he need it now, see what's I see so. Now your friend, and I ain't come at them. Only papi obeka na sembia. So I want one obechu etu. Everybody was afraid. And when Tina to my cottage again, once my boy dumping one another. But who go tell the truth? Nanai or say me. Nanso bien person beka wansam because everybody is afraid. Anya safwe muayini. Akukudro for nyina dalima. Enti who go say the truth? Obiaja konson so to grow Germansa to me be a kakobrafo. Efo anyina ye. Efo when you know yet. Na so kutrata down na so be dia back or why no keke. I fene for be man mo pia for efo ne cross on my mo. Hanya safwe mo ayini. Akuku drop for you na dalima. And who go say the truth? Abaya di bote chino. Yedi bi bebo nyande bi. Kachi sa udi oma upipi numa. Would your mind never shine my preference? But who go tell the truth? TUC, silence. Even journalists, silence. Oh, then who go say the truth? Right is right. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you justify. You say you wanna get rid of corruption. Someone want to help you, now the person become your target. Jobless no they mean senseless. Poverty no they mean useless. One day them go resist.
Hello, a very good evening to you and welcome to MyView show on Today Ghana News TV, where we bring you powerful stories and conversations shaping our world. Tonight, we dive into a topic that is timely as it is timeless: Pan-Africanism. We are live on your screen on Switch by satellite and on all our social media networks on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and as podcast on Anchor FM. Also on our local networks, radio via King's Radio on TuneIn, and also Hind FM, the bright light of Eastern region. Sakina Information Center in Tatale in the Northern region, we are live, and our feed is also equally carried on Jaframa TV in Oti region and many others. And why are we here? As usual, in an age of global uncertainty, the call for unity, cultural pride, and empowerment among the people of African descent is getting louder. What is your contribution? What is your view? Stay tuned. When we come back, I would introduce to you my guest for this evening's show. Once again, you are welcome.
Yo abusiafo mo som funa na afia ko bisa wan peme na meka sei mesi munyimo sum na montamaso na montie makopi inner word of God building construction company so annual inner word of God building construction company so she yesi nyame adwuma na she na wo de akoso minua ebadan sie mu dia sumuda ne yabama e na opese yenyema building works upobi obeye carpentry amount POP, metalworks, tiling, electricals, aluminium, fabrication, anal plumbing, bra, ni abesum we said you wisi penwo, said you wisi penny bia, ya beyama, ya titi yankofo ni wenya misrum, omunchi windio, no munya basabasanso, and now open yama ube to media siwudine, to set building blocks, stones, sand, quarry dust, pavement blocks, anase wood branian somo ewo nyamesuro eni nyamesummu she enkoma menuanu amowa amanone so bet na wo maye adwuma na discover mane abusuafo si enye japade ma na wo beba na wanya ne se de wo sipeno aya na eya bebre it's na me se fa ho bebo eye inner word of God building construction company so aya ti free inner word of God ministry international asori a apa yemre me beboa ye ne yabotne ne minua ne kire se enye na da bi ne yedinam eyi nyamisurom ene nyamisuro kwanso ene yede ba abesomwo obetumenwu ye wa akra anase asharibotwe anase frɛ number we 0242 515735 0242 515735 anase 0203 755 066 0203 755 066 Freye niya mesomo ewo no kware mu medawase.
Wonderful, and welcome back to MyView show on Today Ghana News TV. And with us in the studio is no other person but Dr. Melusi Nkombe of the University of Johannesburg in South Africa, a very passionate advocate for Pan-African consciousness, and who is here to talk about what? From roots to power, igniting Pan-African consciousness for change. Dr. Melusi, I hope I'm getting your name correctly. Welcome, and then thank you for joining us.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for welcoming me, and thank you to all the viewers and to all the all the listeners. Pan-Africanism and the situation we are in, it's a deadly, very serious situation. Nothing fashionable about it. Nobody could have put it better. The urgency of the situation we are in. Kwame Nkrumah saw it years back. That's why he was moving with speed. But unfortunately, he did not get all the support that he needed. But now it's being rekindled, and we have to be very radical, very unapologetic, very African, and not only in Africa, but also globally. We only owe it to ourselves and our future generation.
Wonderful. Let's start from the beginning. When we say Pan-African consciousness, what exactly does that mean to us or to you?
Pan-African consciousness, basically and fundamentally what it means, those who are melanated, those who are of the black skin, those who are not of the white skin, because of what historically happened to us. People came from Europe and they sought to conquer those who were black. And right from the beginning, many of our forefathers saw through them and they resisted. It's not that the resistance started now, but just like in any war, it has this topsy-turvy ups and downs. They never stopped fighting. Nkrumah was not the first. Even the modern day ones are not the first. There's even unsung heroes who resisted, who saw through the imperialists, what they were trying to do. And many of our forefathers perished. But this thing was carried on. The baton was passed on until it reached Nkrumah, until it reached you, until today. It's now global. It's not something that started in the 19th century. From the first time they started, when we gave them a hand of friendliness, when we saw that they were being two-faced, from there we resisted, and we've never stopped resisting. The state of the world to be topsy-turvy the way it is today, it has to do a lot with the decolonization of Africa, even though it's not 100%. The fact that we resisted to arrogant racists who thought they had suppressed and they had oppressed Africans forever, there was no way we could rise. But against all odds, we rose. From Cape to Cairo, we rose, and here we are today, even though it's not perfect, but they did not see us humans. They continue not to see us as humans, but the world is in its state today. It's a very tumultuous world. It's a very unsafe world, but it has been unsafe for Africans. So there is nothing shocking to me. Until everything is made right, politically, economically, culturally, and spiritually, the fires will keep burning until the pains of our forefathers are made right. So that's what Pan-Africanism is. It's the resistance and correction of what happened. And Pan-Africanism operates from Ubuntu. In Zulu or in Nguni, Ubuntu means humanity. So we say, Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, I am because we are. And this was the gesture we extended to them. And they thought they were very smart by playing us. And we did not allow them to play us. Even right now, they think they are playing us, but they can see that their power, there's nothing that lasts forever. Their power is evaporating. We have you right now. We have this revolution going on. We have Ibrahim Traore. We have many more who are like Thomas Sankara. We have Kwame Nkrumah. We have Diden Kimati. We have the Mau Mau. All that is a cumulative factor, and all that resistance, that's what Pan-Africanism is. And Pan-Africanism means there will be equitable respect and sharing of all resources, not only Africa, because Africa is not just Africa. Africa is the whole globe, because the first human being on this earth, according to the teachings of my ancestry, is the black people like me and you. Every other race comes from us. So Africa is not just continental Africa, because that comes after the continental drift. The first people to seed humanity are black people. Even those who are as pink as Joe Biden, who are as pink as Donald Trump, they come from the black race. So we will not stop. We will not stop. No matter they try to come up with propaganda, we will not stop until things are made right. And you can see this critical mass that is building across the whole world, that is building across in America, that is building in Japan, that is building in all the countries in Africa, everywhere else. That's what Pan-Africanism is. They know we do not trust them. We gave them a hand of trust. Now Africans globally, we face an existential crisis where they are trying day and night to depopulate us and to exterminate us. All those are consciousnesses of Pan-Africanism. We will not allow that. So talking is also very important, but there's also many types of fighting that are going on, whether it's in the labor union, the civil society organization, the religious organizations, the Ibrahim Traores, and the Uma Johnsons, and many others. Everybody is doing it in their own way. And we are putting pressure on Africa's leaders who are puppets, who are selling out their people. They are beginning to feel the pressure, right? Because as Africans, we are spiritual. Ibrahim Traore didn't just come there as Ibrahim Traore. It is the sign of the times. And there are many Ibrahim Traores that are coming up, and you are one of them. We don't all have to be soldiers. We are soldiers of a different type, and they will be shocked. They will be shocked. And Babylon is declining. America is declining. You forget about Europe. If Europe is finished, we can speak about that. So that's what Pan-Africanism is. Until we master the global power, until Africa is a superpower, and I'm talking about black people, and this is where we are unapologetically heading with the confidence, with the determination to determine who we are. We don't care what Donald Trump and his ilk and his type say. We carry on with our revolution. And a good example is people like Traore, like Didin Kimaki, people like Chris Hani, people like Amilcar Cabral. They've never stopped, and we will not stop. A lot of youngsters are still going to come that are being influenced directly and indirectly by the likes of you, by the likes of Ibrahim Traore. Amandla, await the power to the black people.
Wonderful. You use this word Ubuntu. I am because you are. I will come back to it. But before we get to that point, if you look at it, how we structure it from roots to power, it suggests a journey. It suggests a transformation. So, what are those roots that we need to reconnect with as Africans and people of African descent?
It's very simple. It's very simple. Africans, we are the original people. We have our values, our values of Ubuntu. Ubuntu means everything else that comes after Ubuntu has been stolen from our philosophy, and that is the highest philosophy universally on this earth, even in the hereafter in the heavens. Ubuntu means I am because we are. Meaning you'll find in other literatures, other texts, I don't want even to use the word religious. It will say, there were certain teachers who say, love your neighbor more than you love yourself. It was nothing new to our ancestors. We knew all that. We knew how to intermediate, to interface with our Almighty. So Ubuntu means our values. We protect our values of equity, our values of sharing, our values of not being greedy, having this chasm between the very rich and the very poor, where people now who are billionaires, they are proud, they are billionaires amidst poverty, global poverty, poverty in Africa. We have our African leaders now who are emulating the colonizers. They are so happy to be big guys, to have monies in France, in America, everywhere, to be billionaires amidst poverty. And that is not Ubuntu. Ubuntu is to make sure our leaders, to make certain, no doubt, that every African child is taken care of. That is not only a political expression. Our political expression as African people is our spirituality. And this is what Nkrumah fought so hard to make people understand. So if you ask me, going back to roots, with Africans, we do not separate past, present, and time. I can even go further. You go anywhere in Africa, anywhere where black people have lived, we do not separate our before. We say before there's materialism, there is the non-material, which according to Africans, those are our ancestors. So anything that happens to Africans, our basic belief is we always look at your spirituality. So your spirituality, your past and your presence and your future, those cannot be separated. I cannot be talking to you right now if you do not know a little bit about my past. So those are inextricably intertwined. I cannot have a tomorrow if I don't know where I stand right now. This is the practice of Pan-Africanism, of Ubuntu, who we are. There is nothing, totally nothing colonizers can teach us. They have never civilized us. What they presented to us is pure deception in order to genocide our people. Now their true colors are coming out now because they can't even hide it behind these deceptive laws they wrote of human rights, this and that. Now they are murdering, mass murdering people for the whole world to see. They have never been civilizational. If at all, the only people in the world who've been civilizational, it's black people. And I'll keep on using this word black because we mustn't be apologetic about it, because they wanted to taint that name, black. But black means love, black means power, black means ingenuity, black means relentlessness. Anything good, it's black. And God is black. Our gods are black. Everything is black. We will keep on saying that until the black majority of the world, our children, are proud of our skin. That is what is our roots. By going back to our roots as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. is to have equity in love, equity in resources, equity in imagination, equity in sharing. Where is their civilization now when the world is in such a mess? Where is their civilization? Now they can't even hide it. They are even proud to say, we will nuke you. That is their civilization. That's how rabid they are. But Africans, we are not like that. We are not wired like that. So when you talk of roots, it's the intermixture of past, present, and future. Those you cannot, because as Africans, even when you so-called transition, we know you're going somewhere. And whether you come from Ghana or from South Africa or any other country in Africa, there's certain rituals where we keep in touch with our departed one. That is the most pristine civilization in the world. I want my African people to know that there is nothing we can learn from colonizers. There is nothing, totally nothing we can learn from imperialists. They are very devilishly intelligent because they are deceptive. They will set you up before you know it. They've depopulated you, they've exterminated you, they've taken your country. You can look at America now. The natives are no more there. Look at Australia, look at New Zealand, look at Canada. I can go on. Right now, they're after Gaza, and they were even proud to announce it because they cannot even hide it right now. So there is nothing. Anybody who wants to tell me colonizers, civilizers taught us, they taught us nothing. There is nothing to, we must not emulate their ways. And big up to President Museveni for standing up. Big up to Kenyatta Uhuru when stupid Obama was trying to come and make us embrace certain values that are not African. Big up to Mugabe for standing up to our values. Big up to Semnon Njoma. So these were all African statesmen who refused for them to try and twist us, for them to force us on values that are not ours. Let them practice their own values. You are not a people if you do not fight for your values. So that's our roots, my brother. It cannot be separated from the now. It cannot be separated from the future. In Ubuntu, we have no separation.
That is lovely. I'm sure many more people are following, and they really have a good understanding of our roots and where we have to reconnect. But now let's take it that many believe that Pan-Africanism is more of a historical movement or something of that sort. And why is it still relevant today, especially for the younger generation?
Look, let me borrow a phrase. Call a rose by any other name, it will remain a rose. Right? People are different. We've got different names, even amongst Black people, amongst Africans. Right? We have different names, and we have different, sometimes, tastes in food and all that. So some people might think the word Pan-Africanism doesn't resonate with them, but what they must do is to unlock, is to decipher that name, what it stands for. And I've just explained it. It stands for our values. Now, there is no Black person, even if they do not want to associate with the Black person. Malcolm X used to call them house Negroes. But there comes a time when they will be reminded by what is happening presently, whether they're at school, whether they're at work, when they'll come. I have many who come to me and say, Malusi, you know, they call me this at work. They passed me for a promotion because of this. We saw what happened in Ukraine when the war started in Ukraine. They did not care whether you come from Ghana, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Malawi. When our Black brothers and sisters wanted to board planes and all that, they were taken out. They did not care because you carried this wonderful black skin. They asked you to come off. Poland didn't even want to take our people. We had statesmen, so-called statesmen of the European Union saying they are coming from the jungle, coming to mess up our garden. So our sisters and brothers, if you remember the Ukraine away, it awakens some of the Blacks who think this thing of racism, who think this thing of Pan-Africanism is nonsense. If you see what's happening in the DRC, if you know clearly what's happening in Sudan, and we know who's behind Sudan, who's behind all the proxy wars in Africa and in the world, it's the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, MI6, Mossad, there is no time to wishy-washy about this. And the people who are doing this intergenerationally is the same spirit, is the same force that massacres our forefathers. So yes, you might say that word doesn't resonate with you, Pan-Africanism. I will challenge you, go look at the values. And I would like to see any black person who's 25 years or 30 years who says they've never ever experienced racism in their lives. Well, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump called African countries shithole countries. That is arrogant, that is racist. He said we are giving money to Lesotho, which is our money, a country nobody has heard of, right? He says we want to go, we can even own Gaza and build Rivera. These Palestinians, they can go to Jordan or Egypt after children have been murdered. If black people don't wake up, those who don't want to wake up, this is a time, a watershed time, when we're fighting for an existential situation of ours where we are right now. So we really have to stand up. So you might not agree with the word Pan-Africanism, but we are in serious, clear, present danger right now as Africans.
Doug, you have been involved in initiatives across the diaspora, and probably at this point, can you share some examples where Pan-Africanism or Pan-African unity has led to a real societal or economic impact?
For instance, I stayed in the States for a time, and I stayed in Europe for a time. And during that period, Pan-Africanism was very powerful, continues to be very powerful. It's just that our enemies are trying to do it down. It cannot be downgraded. It's actually picking up. But during that time, when I was outside the country in the 80s, we organized on a black consciousness or on a Pan-Africanism system so that they could help with the struggles in Southern Africa. That was Mozambique, that was Namibia, that was South Africa, that was Zimbabwe. So we had brothers in the United States of America, we had progressive white people in Germany, in the whole of Europe who helped us. And when we spoke, we were speaking about black consciousness because of what the constitutions in those countries in Africa were doing. Because in South Africa, we were not allowed in certain areas, we were not allowed to own land. And because of the color of our skin, or because of who we are, being deemed to be subhuman, we mobilized and galvanized around Pan-Africanism, or for another expression around black consciousness. And that helped us. We managed to get support. We got support outside Africa, and we got support in Africa. And in that instance, I want to show reverence to our ancestors who helped us. Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere. These are countries that were not rich at all, through all poverty. If you look at Tanzania, they housed all the liberation movements. Kwame Nkrumah, right from 1958, even made a statement and wrote in his book that the liberation of Ghana means nothing. All that is Pan-Africanism. Right now, when you go outside, some of who went into exile before us, when you go outside, they met people like W. Du Bois. W. Du Bois ended up coming to Ghana and interacted with Nkwamwe. He actually stayed in Ghana. So you have to understand, you have to ask yourself as a scholar, why does someone like W. Du Bois, who is an African American, why would he come all the way? Remember, because he was involved in the Pan-African conferences, because he started one actually in France, and it migrated to America, migrated to England, until it migrated and it became continental in Africa. Then people like George Padmore, people like Henry Sylvester William, people like Martin Delany, they all came to Ghana. Now ask yourself, why would they do that? According to today's parlance, you'd call those people educated middle class, but they found it in themselves to go and stay in Ghana and work in Ghana. These are intellectuals. They were passing a baton, both directly and indirectly. So yes, we did work, and they did help us outside the country, in America, in the Caribbean, and in Europe, especially in England. They did help us. gave us resources, gave us money, gave us scholarships. And I'm talking about Africans in the diaspora. They played a serious role. They did, and they continue to do.
Wonderful. Doc, there's one thing I want us to look at before we take a short break. It's about our educational system. The African educational system, as you see it, as compared to what our colonial masters brought into our system and our traditional educational system, there seems to be a disconnect.
Definitely there is a disconnect, but research and development is not something, it's not an arrived point. It's something that becomes part of your culture. Hence, you see in Ubuntu. So if you walked all the way from Ghana to South Africa, for that matter, through migration after years, when you're accepted and you're not part of Zulu or Xhosa or Pedi or Sutu, in African culture, we would accept you and you'd become part of the family and all that, right? That is the education, to put it simply. So that type of interaction, it's an ongoing research and development to refine ourselves. Now, when we go into our academic curriculum and all that, universities and schools in Africa, seriously speaking, yes, attempts are being made to overhaul them. They are outposts of racism. They are outposts of colonialism. They are outposts of imperialism. That's why some of our leaders right now, they speak with four tongues. When they are put into power, when they are campaigning, they speak Pan-Africanism, 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 right? But now when pressure is put on them, they start selling out their brothers. You see them speaking to Anthony Blinken and selling out their own brother right on TV for the whole world to see. You see them doing the dirty job of the slave master, taking black policemen from Kenya, sending them to Haiti to fight over our own brothers. Who says America can't afford its own police? Why are you agreeing? What qualitative education in terms of your actions are you adding to the African archive and consciousness by taking 1,000 Kenyan policemen and sending them to solve the question of Haiti, when we know the question of Haiti is a racist neo-colonial problem, and you say you're part of the United Nations? Right now, basically, the United Nations is dead because someone called Donald Trump is pulling out monies left, right, and center because the business plan of the United Nations and World Health Organization and USAID is no more serving the racist plan. So we must keep on, it's not a one-day affair. We must keep on overhauling these systems. We must keep on overhauling the system. It's not a one-day affair, but we must do it radically. We must do it in the classrooms, in the universities, in the churches, everywhere, in our actions, whatever we do, exactly whatever you're doing right now, and recording it. And we have to be very radical, people. I mean, very, very radical. Do you see Mzungus, how radical they are when they want to get Palestine, when they want the state of Israel? They don't even want a two-state solution. Do you see how uncivilized? And certain people want to come and tell us we must be diplomatic. To be diplomatic for what? They are bombing children, raping women day and night in the DRC. They don't want a two-state solution in what's called in Palestine. They don't want. They want to take it over. So where is their diplomacy there? When they want what they want, they show you what type of animals they are. And we have still African people trying to tell us that we must be diplomatic. No, that time is gone. We must be like Traore. Traore has shown that it can be done. You saw how the government of Traore threw out that French ambassador who didn't want to go. They finally threw him out. Get out. Get out. We will make our own mistakes, like Nkrumah would say. We have the possibility to do our own rights and our wrong. The Mzungus imperialists, they are not, Africans must understand that they are not our point of benchmarking. I refuse. No, my point of benchmarking is Traore, is Kwame Nkrumah, is Didier Kimati. We can do it on our own.
Wonderful. Doc, please get a glass of water so that we'll take messages from our followers. And when we come back, we'll look at other areas of
I
our
don't
topic.
want water. Let's carry on. There's no time for water. Our children are dying in DRC. The state of Sudan has been stopped. We cannot afford to be doing that. They're trying to assassinate Traore so many times. This is not a joke, my brother. This is not a joke. You must see Nkrumah how many times he tried, even when they cooled him. You must see his picture, how he held his face like this when the Chinese authorities told him that your people have gone against you, and those people were played by CIA. You must see, go and see the video of Patrice Lumumba when they took him captive. There is no time to drink water, my brother. There is no time. One day we will not have this window of opportunity to talk like this and to strategize and to encourage each other. There is no time for that. Children in Sudan right now, universities, everything has been stopped. I want you to imagine that, my brother. Yeah? People in Sudan are going, and people who are black like me are going without water, without food. There is no time. That's why we must support Traore so that we have millions of Traore. There is no time to drink water. There is nothing. I don't care what the other Africans are saying. This is a time to be very extremely radical because we know the history with the imperialists, with the colonizers. There is nothing they can teach us. And we are right to be angry. It's our anger. We don't have to be benchmarked. No, Malusi, this is the way you behave. No, if I'm being emotional or whatever, it's my ancestors speaking. I don't care who says what. We must be dead serious for the sake of Kwame Nkrumah, for the sake of W. Du Bois, for the sake of Marcus Garvey, for the sake of Malcolm X, for all those who laid their life, for the sake of Patrice Lumumba. We cannot be playing around. There's no time to play around when they're trying to take out Ibrahim Traore, when they took out Thomas Sankara. There's no time to play, my brother. We have to be very radical in everything we do, the way we talk, the way we look in our face. There's no time to be, diplomacy, School of Diplomacy can go to hell, man. They're bombing children in Gaza, and you come and tell me about diplomacy. What diplomacy? When people are calling you shithole countries, and you come and tell me about diplomacy. Wake up, Africans! Wake up!
This is a wonderful call, and I am personally touched. But we will see. There are some questions that have been sent in by some of our followers. I want us to look at a few of them, and then we see those that you give responses, and then we can continue with the other aspect. Because somebody saying, good evening, watching from Tatali, Northern Ghana, and greetings from Sakina Information Center listeners. Okay, Nana Trefremu. Bob says, I'm watching from Paris, France. Greetings to Doc and Doc. We are grateful. NDC Diaspora. This is a very good topic. Africa for Africans, both home and abroad. Watching from Amsterdam, Holland. Grateful. Maybe says, good evening. I'm watching from Lisbon, Portugal. What is the current state of land redistribution in South Africa and Zimbabwe? Okay. We will look at it when I finish with these other ones. Brahma, hey, Renis Brahma says Ghana CJ should resign before the sack. Okay. Frimpom Buffy says, please, Doc, what is your take on military takeovers in West Africa, especially in the Sahel regions? Watching from Akuse. So there are two questions down the line. We'll come back to them. What's his name? I've gone already. Jaframa TV says, I'm watching from Ravra in OT region. Okay. Kweku Yevu says, please kindly ask him, does he see the word I'm black and proud as a racist? Okay, we will come to this. So 3 questions down the line. Sakwa family says, good evening. This is a powerful presentation. I'm loving the show. We're grateful. Just don't love the show. Join the movement. We have to go ahead and then liberate ourselves. Lady Mal says, watching on Switch from St. Petersburg, Russia. Okay. Kwesi Insian says, yes. Yes, brother Fidel Castro also held with African liberation struggle. Okay. That's a wonderful contribution. Frema says, wonderful show, watching from Manchania. Okay. So we'll look at the few questions that just came up before we tag down on the other set of questions. The first one asked, Doc, the first one says, what is your stake on coup d'etats, especially in the Sahel region?
what happened in the Sahel, personally myself, I totally support it, given the information that I've been given. Africans must understand this. Getting Africa, our power, that is our power of creation, our power of supply chains, our power of intellectual property, our power to share our power and wealth intergenerationally forever for our children. It's going to be messy business. Messy. Don't think because they talk this deceptive language of saying human rights, this and that. Right now, we've taken them. South Africa took them to court, to the International Court of Justice, which is part of the United Nations, that they created when all of Africa was not free. Now they are putting pressure on us that we must remove that case from ICJ, International Court of Justice, which is part of the United Nations, and the International Criminal Court. Or because now it's them, because we are saying you must go and face the music, right? So what I'm saying, the state where we are as Africa, the state we have, number one, you must understand how their intelligence groups operate, the CIA, the MI6 and all that. These people are killers, they are murderers, mass murderers, right? So the coup that was done by Thomas Sankara, I myself, personally, I'm for it because I looked at the results, what he did in a short space of time. It doesn't mean Thomas Sankara will be perfect, but everything he did, Thomas Sankara, was not to amass money from me. He tried, because remember, we are fighting in an environment that is full of demons. Demons like, I don't know, I don't even want to call him a king. You know, this demon was from Belgium who murdered almost 20 million Africans right? Yeah. You can see even his grandchildren are doing that. You only have to know what is happening in the DRC. If you know, some of my students are from DRC. I know what's going on in the DRC. I know what's going on in Sudan. We don't even talk about it. And I would ask you and all those who are listening, you must smash and keep Sudan alive wherever there is a problem of a black man. So yes, some of the progressive coups, I do support them. If you look at all the liberation struggles, armed struggles in Africa, if you look at all of them, one can say technically they were coups because there was a constitutional order that benefited only white people. So when we tried to talk to them for a couple of years, when we saw that they don't want to listen, our forefathers took up arms. You must know that, and you must be proud of that, right? They took up arms from Cape to Cairo, from Algeria to everywhere. They took up arms so that we are able to talk. So that is a coup. So don't let your mind be constrained by that word coup, because the key thing, the whole world is developing because of the resources of Africa.
Yeah.
Africa is the linchpin. Don't let anybody lie to you. We can talk about that some more. It's the linchpin of the whole of Europe, is the linchpin of the whole of the Americas, of the whole world, of China. We are the linchpin. And do you think just by negotiating and this democracy we are getting from the West? Okay, whoever raised that question, I'm asking the question, why are they not practicing it in Palestine? Why are they not practicing it in the DRC? Traore didn't want to listen when they took out, I forgot his name, whom they said he was democratically elected. Traore, they took him off. Traore and his whole leadership, they put their lives on the line. And Traore, he's proving that it was not just for his benefit. It was a structural overhaul to benefit, I'll mention the word again, black people. Black. I don't want people to be hissing and speaking around there. No. Nkrumah supported us because he was supporting black people. So certain coups, because we are intelligent, they are necessary, because some of our leaders, they've sold us out. Probably some of them is beyond them, because you see, Western intelligence, they gather information whilst you're still coming up. By the time some of our leaders want to speak and all that, they have very compromising information on them. So they cannot even move an inch. So that's why if you're going to be like a Traore, you must be prepared to die anytime. If you're going to be like Fidel Castro, you must be prepared to die anytime. if you're going to be like Che Guevara, Samora Machel, Chris Hani, Steve Biko, you must be prepared to die anytime. Because some of our leaders there, I can tell you, even in the African Union, they're even saying what Traore is doing is right. But because they have them, they are holding our African leaders by the scrotum, they cannot move, but they are happy with what Traore is doing. So make sure when you're going to fight for your people, don't get yourself compromised, and be prepared to die like Nkrumah, like Patrice Lumumba. You can see their spirits live forever. So some coups, yes, are very progressive, very, very progressive.
Look, once again, let's get back to your campaign. What we see right now is about bringing Pan-Africanism into power. So do we look at this campaign as a political movement or a cultural revival or a combination of both?
It's a combination of everything, and I'll explain why. It's a combination of everything, my brother.
Okay.
What we have to do, an example has been set already. Thomas Sankara tried and he failed. The power to determine our political economies, because when you say political economy, you're speaking about every facet, every sector of what makes up a people. Whether this is their economics, is their business, is their culture, everything, their budget, how you're going to distribute the budget, everything, who you are going to sell the minerals to, who you are going to put tariffs onto, like Donald Trump is doing. He is deciding who. Africans, we must have that power. And all the multinational companies in Africa must be dominated by us. So, my brother, I'm talking about ascending without shame to power. Every African must think about making Africa a global superpower like China, like America. Nothing less. Being Ghanaian won't work for us. Being from Lesotho only won't work. Being from South Africa won't work, because when you're atomized into small nations, you cannot have critical mass to challenge, to bargain in business, or to do anything. So, Jerome, it's about ascending to power. And there's an African who's alive who's shown that it can be done. That is Ibrahim Traore. So it's not just a cosmetic thing. No, it's done by men who are men. It's done by sisters who are truly sisters, who are prepared. So as Africans from Cape to Cairo, we must be prepared to fold our arms. We must be prepared to get ourselves dirty. We must be prepared to be buried alive. We must. That's what it's about. The first thing is to get the power, my brother. So all African people, including you, Jerome, is to follow, emulate the example of Traore. We must seize power in the whole continent of Africa.
Wonderful. Now let's talk about solutions, because consciousness without action only goes so far, and everybody is waking up. Everybody is waking up. We have to be on our feet to join this fight. We really need it, because what you said it was rightly on point, because over in Europe here, America and the rest, when they are bringing their tariffs, it doesn't matter whether you are from Ghana, you are from Nigeria, wherever you are. Once the product is coming from the African continent, it hits high. I can give a very simple example. Farm products like yam and other things from Africa coming into Europe, you pay 19% tax on them. And the same product coming from South America and thereabout, you pay 9%. So it means that all the noise about fair trade and trade agreements and all that is to their advantage and not to the advantage of the Africans. So Africans really need to come together to be able to fight. So this fight is not just for you alone, it's not for me alone, it's for all Africans, and we all have to rise to it.
Jerome, let me quickly say there's something that is very important. You see, like the African Union, it's a good thing. They've developed very good protocols, very good papers. So far, what they've done is good. They've got serious weaknesses. Hence, you have the Sahel region, whatever, right? Now, Africans must understand that to some extent, the African Union is very elitist. It doesn't mean some of their leaders are not Pan-Africanists. They do, but they just have a small window to operate. But we must meet them halfway, or we must be radical as Thomas Sankara. We must be as radical as Ibrahim Traore. Some of our leaders need to be assisted because they cannot move an inch. So there must be this bottom up from our churches, from our mosques, from our civil society, from our groups. We must keep on organizing and upsetting. Africans must get it through their head, and many of you know, the whole economy of Africa is not owned by Africans. It's owned by the Americans and the Europeans, all the multinational corporations, because they are all underpinned under the US reserve currency. That's why Trump says, as much as he's kicking in these tariffs, already 75 countries, it shows what type of a person he is. He says, now they are coming to kiss my ass, to quote him verbatim. So Africans must forget to think we own the economy of Africa. No, there are those whom they've put on the periphery, what they call politics of patronage, our leaders, puppets. And we don't want such a system. We want a system that benefits everyone, and that system is there alive today. There is a country where it is, a country called China. We want that system, and that system is possible. We are sick and tired of these imperialists telling us it's not possible. So the fight, my brother, it has to come bottom up. So I'm asking all our civil society organizations, you must organize every day. I'm talking about our churches. I don't care we have got a different religious group, but our politics is the same as long as we've got this skin. That is not a Mzungu skin. We must come together, right? Whether you're Muslim, whatever. One time I saw a clip in Ghana whereby they actually waited for Muslims to pray. It was on a Sunday. From there, they joined the civil society. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I call being smart. The other brothers in Ghana, they let them finish their prayer, whether it was in Ghana or in Nigeria, I don't remember. They were uprising against the government. So because we have many organizations in Africa already, right? It doesn't matter whether they're community-based organizations, whether they're African NGOs, we must just start what we are doing is very, very important. It's important to communicate and to talk. And we must start putting pressure on our leaders. People must know that Sudan has been stopped to function, right? Most of all the budgets of Africa, most of our budgets in Africa, they are within the loop or the framework of what I call a debt dependency system that is underpinned by the US reserve currency. Now, if you understand economics, not economics of Harvard, the one I am telling you, if you understand, every African can see that you are played. If you want to understand it better, go and read the book of Kwame Nkrumah, Neocolonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism. Every African, actually disappointed, Jerome, that book is not introduced in primary in Ghana, in all high schools. Nkrumah was ahead. If you read that book, that the whole Agenda 2063, I can argue with anybody, it's based on Nkrumah. Nkrumah, he wrote everything there, what is happening and what is going to happen. That's why he even quickly experimented. Nkrumah never just talked. That's why he quickly even experimented with the confederacy of Ghana, Mali, and Conakry. It doesn't mean if we experiment it's going to be perfect, but he was on the right path. That's why they had to stop him. That's why they had to stop him. So, civil society organizations in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Morocco, everywhere, wake up. These African leaders who think they're living it big and all that, we are going to upset them because getting power is going to be messy business. You must understand that Traore is fighting organized terrorism that was being pushed and that is still being pushed by the CIA. So that most of your funding, you spend it there. But he's on top of his game. But now we need many more Traores. We need you, Jerome, and every African who's listening to be a Traore, to even be better than Traore. So, yes, everybody must work.
Great. Doc, now let's look at what are some of the practical steps individuals, especially the youth, can take to live out Pan-African values in their communities?
Practical step. I hope the youth is listening. Practical step. This is something you can do every month as youth. Simple. Sometimes just keep it simple. Every month, all the youth of Africa, whether it's in Ghana, whether you are 50 or what, it doesn't matter. go and march and congregate somewhere and sing songs about Traore every month, starting from today. Don't stop. Sing songs about Traore in front of the US Embassy, in front of the leaders of Ghana, of Nigeria, until that consciousness is well entrenched. That's what the youth have got to do. And the youth must start asking all organizations. Hello, can you hear me? I don't know what happened
there was just a short break, but we can continue.
Okay, all right. So the youth can do that. And the youth, simple thing as well, the youth in Africa can fight all our African leaders. It's not going to be easy, but they must do it every month by congregating in their churches, in their groups. Education in Africa must be free, and it must resonate with Africans. It must be free. There is no reason in Africa why we have leaders who are billionaires and our children have to pay for education, have to pay for health. Just on those two issues, and to always sing about Traore, sing about Kwame Nkrumah, sing about African leaders. The youth must do those three things. They will see when they keep on doing those three things, there will be ripple effects, what they call in economics multiply effects that will come of that. So the youth, I've told you what you must do. You need nothing. You just need numbers like you're going to play soccer in a village in Ghana. Get together every week. Always go pray in churches, all the churches in Ghana and Africa. Praise the name, pray to our ancestors and to our God, and even to those who believe in Jesus, to keep Traore, and so that Jesus can we have 1 million more Traores. So it must be Traore, 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 Traore. It must be Nkrumah, 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 Nkrumah. It must be free education, free education. There is no way we must allow our African leaders to take high salaries and they tell us there's no money for education. No. If some of our leaders went to the bush like Sheikh Guvara and them, and they never had a salary, why are our leaders billionaires? Why are they billionaires? So our youth must push that. No. Our leaders suffer with us. If there's Kenyans who are in the townships or wherever they are in Kenya in poverty, they must make that country ungovernable. Africa must be made ungovernable. We are not going to get this the easy way. So I've given you three things: free education, free health, and always the name of Nkrumah, always the name of Patrice Lumumba, and always the name of BRICS. You know what I'm talking about. They must galvanize until it will reinforce itself, and many more ideas are going to come out of that. So consciousness, consciousness, and politicization is very, very, very important. Until that thing is done day and night. As Africans, we must eat, sleep, whatever this thing, as Traore is doing. You see how he's being guarded every day. If you see what Patrice Lumumba was doing daily. So we got to be very, very serious. We can't. And some of their shops, we must not start patronizing some of their shops. You know, these franchises and all that. We must be very radical. So the youth, I've told you what you must do. And from there, you can improve and correct some of my mistakes. So there you are. There's something you can start on and put pressure on our governments.
Now you just added we should put pressure on our government, and I was also going to find out how governments or institutions or even the African diaspora can support this awakening.
Yes, they definitely can. We have many Africans who are in the diaspora who are supporting this through politicization, which is very powerful. I'll give you. There are many. I'll give you an example. For instance, Louis Farrakhan speaks very positively about what is going on in Africa. You just need to follow him. Dr. Uma Johnson, Dr. Arikana Chombori. Right, she was at one time an official of the African Union. So there are even many. So just remember that. The West still has power and propaganda, even on what gets taken out in our TikTok and other social media, because they know the power of the word. And I'm not speaking religion here. That's why when I mean power of the word, I'm talking about politicization. We have to keep on talking until what we do every day. There are certain things now we have to cut off from our lifestyle, and we must give more preponderance to our revolution. So we can actually follow the template. We can follow the template of Traore. Traore is a living example. He's there. He had to choose, do we do this or not? And he knew he could die. He knew, and he still knows he can die. So all of you, Jerome, you, me, everything, The little things you do every day. And again, I'll repeat, I've told the youth what they can do. So yes, when they go to soccer and they play soccer, after playing soccer, or when there's a cup, they must call that trophy they win, the Kwame Nkrumah trophy, the Traore trophy. Everything must be Nkrumah Traore, everything must be revolution. We turn everything until our leaders see it. And we must not allow our leaders, we must put maximum pressure on our leaders. So I've given you practical points that can be done, that are not expensive, but that call to our courage.
Great. Look, now before we even run up, because time is running, in the issue of in Africa, I want us to equate statesman to Ubuntu, or the spirit of Ubuntu. How will that translate into this fight that we are embarking on?
The spirit of Ubuntu says, every year each country in Africa has a budget like any other country in the world. We have a budget. And that budget is distributed to different departments that looks after our livelihood. I'm answering Ubuntu. Now, the first thing we are going to do is that all these funny expenditures of our leaders wanting to play big, wanting to be seen in Switzerland, wanting to be seen in France, in America, some of their money is going to the Cayman Islands. It has to stop. All that money has got to go to education, has got to go to research, has got to go to farming. Agriculture is very, very powerful as much as it goes with digitalization of the economy. And we must also create our own digital apparatuses, because already we are colonized. We are already colonized by Google, by Apple, Alphabet, by Facebook, by Microsoft, because these Western colonial racist structures, right? So they've already set up values and they already colonize our data, and we're not getting anything around it. So our agriculture, agri-processing business, and our supply chains, we have to start walking the journey of a million miles, beginning with the first step. So there you are. When we come, every country, there's no African country that tells me they don't have a budget. But we don't want a budget that gives ministers and their girlfriends and their wives lots of money. It means the youth, the churches, you must watch the budget. I'm happy with what the Kenyan youth did. They actually wrote their own finance bill and how they want the budget to be distributed. And even up to today, they say Ruto must go. They're saying he must go. And CIA is feeling the heat because Ruto, he is working with the CIA, and he must stop working with the CIA. Totally stop working with the CIA. He must be like Kwame Nkrumah. He must be like Mugabe. He must be like Krisani. He must be like Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore was invited by Donald Trump to come to America for the inauguration. He refused. Says, I've got much more important things to do. He knows why he's being called there for. Who knows, maybe he was not even going to come back. Yeah. But other African leaders are so happy to quickly go to the White House. You know, that is the height of their success. I sat with George Bush in the White House. Nonsense. Nonsense. The greatest thing is to sit with Kwame Nkrumah. The greatest thing is to sit with Ibrahim Traore, Thomas Sankara, to sit with Marcus Garvey. Our point of reference and benchmarking, it's Africans. We've got nothing to learn from colonizers, people. I don't care what you say. We've got nothing. They've shown us over and over and over again that they want to depopulate and exterminate us. And some of our African brothers, they still think, yes, we're not saying, but we're talking about the ones who control the superstructure, the system. They are racist. Yes, you'll get individual whites here and there who are progressive. We know that, and we've worked with them. But we talk about the one intergenerational who've mass murdered our forefathers. Right now, your Donald Trump is signing bills to sell more arms to Israel because Israel is America and is murdering babies. And you tell me as Africans, you don't see that these people are mass murderers. There's nothing to be respected about them. Let's do our own thing. Our own thing. Go read Nkrumah's book, Africa Must Unite. Read Nkrumah. Read Nkrumah, Neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism. Go read the history of Patrice Lumumba. Go read the history of Marcus Garvey. Then you will understand who we are. And to understand who we are, when we get into actions, like I've told the youth, I've given them 3 things they must do, simple things. From there, their geniusness will arise. They'll even have much better ideas than what I'm saying right now. I thank you, my brother. I love you all, Black people all over the world. This is our time. It's going to be very messy, very 10,000 times much messier than what you're seeing in Gaza, because they want to get us out of Africa. The next project, they want to take over Africa. And I would like to say thank you to Russia and thank you to China for supporting Africa's liberation movements. It doesn't mean we agree with China. It doesn't mean we agree with Russia with everything that they do. No, we are intelligent, we disagree. But China and Russia supported our liberation struggles. They still support us, and we must support BRICS because we are bringing about a new budgeting, a new financial system. So big up to China. We support China. We support the Chinese government, and we support the Russian government because they were there for us when other people thought we were subhuman, we are not humans. So to the presidency of China, we support you. To the president of China, we support you. To the president of Russia, we support you. To the Cuban revolutionaries who played a critical role in Africa, we support you. To anybody else, progressive white people, they were white people who were guerrillas here, who fought on the side of the liberation, we support those individuals. But we are against the superstructure of imperialism and colonialism that has been working intergenerationally, transferring funds. That system must be smashed. That system must not be emulated. We have our values as Africans. And I would like to say to Museveni for standing up. I might disagree with him on other political points like he disagrees with me, but to the Ugandan parliamentarians, for them to stand up for African values and say we are not going to let our children to be made dirty. And just to be ironical, hey, didn't Donald Trump, I want to ask you, Jerome, didn't Donald Trump, when he was inaugurated, it's a question, I'm just asking, didn't Donald Trump say from now on, under my executive order, there will be 2 genders in the United States, there will be males and females? He himself, the white man, did he not say that? Yeah. So who went against him? But if it was an African who said that, right? So that tells you.
They would have been descended. And that is a very wonderful conversation. Like Dr. Nkrumah said, the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it links to the total liberation of Africa. So Africa is our home, and we must rise and fight for it. This conversation definitely is more than a dialogue, and it's a call to action. As we have heard today, Pan-Africanism isn't just about history, it's about harnessing the richness of our roots to shape a more empowered, unified future. To learn more about the struggle and the movement, or to get involved, we invite you to visit the website of Dr. Maluse. It's www.maluseinkobe.com, and then you can follow the campaign. They will put the website up there, and you can easily join, and we'll continue with the campaign and struggle until Africa is totally liberated. So we will say that Dr. Maluse Nkobe, thank you so much for your time and your insight. I hope we'll have the opportunity to discuss BRICS and other ways by which this campaign can continue.
I'd like to thank you, Jerome. I'd like to thank the brothers and sisters who organized this. Everybody read the book of Nkrumah. You must read it not just only scholarly, read it spiritually, because I believe Nkrumah wrote that book spiritually, and we are at a crossroad, right? They definitely have a plan to depopulate. They've been doing so, and to exterminate as they want to really take over Africa. Already in South Africa, there's mechanization of Orania, of Western Cape seeding. Already that tells you that those are their medium, long-term plans. So we must get together as Africans. And I want to say to all the listeners who are listening, I'm saying this very, 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 very humbly. I want to work with Jerome, with all the brothers in Africa anyway. If there's those who can finance us for me to come and give a talk, to work on a program in Ghana jointly, or for you to come to South Africa, those who think they can help and they can work with us and be totally committed, please, please contact Jerome or anybody. I'm willing to do anything. So I'm talking to anybody who's listening from Russia, from China, from Jamaica, from Barbados, from Westmoreland, from Sweden, wherever there's Africans, from the United States of America, from anywhere, right? I'm giving my life, I'm giving my time, I'm giving my energy. So I'm also talking to you, Jerome, to everybody, anybody who can help us with resources. The little that I have, Mina, I work on that every day. I am willing to give it all to God. Thank you, my brother. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you to our ancestors who produced the highest philosophy in the world, Ubuntu, being African. There is no philosophy. Don't tell me about Marxism. I don't want to hear about that. We have our own blueprint as Africans. We follow what our ancestors did. Thank you very much, my brother. I love you all, Black people globally. Let's unite. We have a big fight, a messy, messy, messy fight. Gaza, you ain't seen nothing else. What they want to do here.
Wonderful. So that has been my guest on my view show on Today Ghana News TV. And to you, our viewers up there, stay engaged, stay informed, and remember, change begins when we reclaim our story. Until next time, this is my view show on Today Ghana News TV. Good night.
The country where I come from, the truth is irony. Just like animal farm, justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth?